we mentioned 77 millimeter front elements, so basically all the filters we carry are all 77, okay? So we don't want to carry double filters. We just carry step rings if we needed to. So first filter we have are neutral density filters. These are graduated filters, okay? There's a 25 and a 50, and this comes in handy when we're doing a lot of sky stuff, all right? So ND grads. Then we get a 77 millimeter polarizer, and I carry two because typically if we use a polarizer, I might be switching between two different lenses, either the 70 to 200 or the 24 to 70, or the opposite, 17 to 35 and the 24 to 70. So instead of switching polarizers, we just carry two. But it's important enough that it takes up the valuable space, or it gets that valuable space. The last set of filters are neutral density filters. These are just straight NDs. They're not graduated, okay? There's a 3, a 6, and a 9 in here. And this comes in real handy. We use this a lot when we're shooting the lab stuff, where we got to get that f-stop down. So those are the NDs. And then to match all of the different front elements, mostly for the 60, and then on the blog camera that has a prosumer zoom lens that's a different front element. In this pouch, we keep all of the step rings that we would ever need to do anything in here, okay? So 58 to 77, this is probably 72 to 77, 67 to 77, so on and so forth. So all of our step rings fit in here, okay? Everything that we can think of that works together that we need will be kept in this case. And lastly, in the bottom here, we have our cards, all right? So the way we like to shoot in our system is we set the D3 to using a redundant system. So there's two cards that go in the camera, and the first camera basically is the first card is a clone of the second card. So all of our cards are labeled 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, and so on and so forth. And all our cards are either 16 or 8 gigabyte cards. So in here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cases, and each has 4 cards. It's 24 cards, and then cut it in half because they're redundant. So we have 12, either 8 or 16 gig cards. Quite a lot of space to hold data in this case alone, okay? And these cases are made by Jeppy, I think. They're really great. They're waterproof. You can put them in your wetsuit when you're in the water, or if you're in the snow. And then I always like to keep this little PhotoFlex light disc in here, which is a great, if we're doing macro work, it's a little soft box, or it can be a little bounce if you need to, or just to keep some sun out of somebody's eyes when you're outside shooting a portrait. And it doesn't take a lot of space up, and it's nice to have in that bag. And then underneath, I like to hide some goodies. First is the gray card, which is very important whenever we shoot raw files. We shoot this at the head so that we can do our color correction. All of this stuff isn't stuff that we would use, but it's just extra emergency stuff. Model releases, okay, if we were to run out of releases, we have a second batch in here. Extra DVDs if we needed to, if we ran out. Here's the cheat sheet for the transceiver for the Pocket Wizard, and of course the guide for the D3 if we forget how to operate our cameras, which sometimes happens. Extra business cards, and most important, a check. 1 or 2 checks is great, because you never know what you're going to lose or forget. If you got to pay a model or pay for a helicopter or whatever the heck, it's good to have a spare check in there. So that's the bottom of the case. And then we have the top of the case. These are really great. Pelican makes one for each case. I think they call them lid organizers, okay? So we'll go through each one. Top here, I always carry some rubber gloves. We shoot a lot of science stuff, so when we're in labs, or if things are really oily or whatever, it's great to have these to protect either ourselves, or more importantly, if we're in a shot, or we're doing a photograph, and you need to have somebody's hands in the picture. A lot of times labs will have white gloves, and they just don't look as good as colored gloves. So I always keep an extra pair of colored gloves, and this is purple. Pens, Sharpie. Richard's signaling me that we have 10 minutes. I'm trying to go as fast as I can. In here we have Sharpies, a photographer's, And in here we have a Sharpie, which is a photographer's best friend, pens, sensor swabs, this is really an important thing, wax. I picked this up from my mentor, Mike Weymouth, and he always carries wax with him, and it's really great when we're doing like on-the-fly tabletop stuff, or we're using whatever. It's just great to sort of set things. Gum. So this case is kind of more personal stuff. I like to chew gum when I shoot sometimes. Aspirin. And then there should be some Advil, okay, just in case. Again, this case is set up so whatever happens, you can finish the job, okay? So it's really important. Aspirin, or you don't want any whatever to impede finishing the job. Always carry earplugs, because we're either, for around heavy machinery or flying in a transport, a military transport, or helicopters or something. It's great to have ear protection. And then really important, sunscreen, okay? Some batteries in there too. This case, this pouch right here is a little grip pouch. Again, it's following the same lines of being able to get the job no matter what happens. So one year I was on a shoot in Puerto Rico, and the stand bag didn't come, and my tripod was missing, and so we had to run around and try to solve that, buy a tripod locally thank God there was a Walmart open at 6 in the morning. So from then on, I went and I bought this little head. So it's a little mini head. So then how are we going to deal with it? Get a tripod if we have to do a long shoot. I bought this little, this is made by Manfrotto. It's called a nano clamp. Okay, that'll clamp on anything, just like a mini super clamp, and a stud. So these are all common threads. So the stud goes into the nano clamp, like so, and then the stud goes into the little mini head, and then this can clamp on to whatever you want, like so. Okay, and then we can obviously put our camera on the head and get our shot. Okay, so again, no matter what happens, okay, we can take the photograph. And then there's some other little grip implements in here. There's a long stud and a short stud. It's great to have spares. We always lose them. Here's a threaded stud that'll go into a Gitzo tripod if we lose that. And then this is a really kind of cool implement. I got this, I think, at Adorama. Basically, this fits on the top of a hot shoe, like so, and screws down, and then a stud will go onto the top of this, and then you can put a super clamp or a magic arm or something. And so you'd have this on the bottom and then something on the top, so we'd stabilize the camera from shaking if we're doing, like weird mounted camera work. Okay, so that's the grip little pouch. And then the last thing we have in here are cables. This is every cable we'd need, again, to get the shot. So this is the first, I think this is the SC29. SC29, this will connect the camera to the off-camera flash, SB900. And then we can even do the little trick that our friend Joe McNally does, where he puts the commander on the cable and this on the top of your camera, and then you can really get this to work with the SB900 where it is, so the infrared sees it. So Joe does that a lot. I thought it was a cool trick, so I picked it up. Then we have a remote for the camera for doing long exposures. Okay. This is a USB cable that'll go from the camera into our laptop or whatever. So this is a backup of a card reader. If a card reader fails, we can still get the data from the camera into a computer. So that's important. This is a really expensive cable, but really important in what we do. And this connects the Pocket Wizard. It's a multi-pin, so this goes into the camera, the same port that your remote does. So this will go into the camera, and this goes into the Pocket Wizard, and this allows us to fire the camera remotely. So in other words, I can mount the camera under an automobile or on a wing of an airplane or up on a mast of a ship or something, and then fire the Pocket Wizard, which will then fire the camera. And then you can subsequently put another Pocket Wizard on top of the camera, which will then fire your strobes. So you can do everything remotely with this cable. And then we have a redundant mini to quarter. So this would be for pro photo. Okay, so we have one that goes in the bag with the Pocket Wizards, and this is a second backup, so we can still work if a cable goes down, and then a second backup mini to PC, which would connect the camera, the Pocket Wizard to the PC if we hit to fire a flash. And then, of course, this is the mount for the lens, the 70-200. So basically, that's everything that fits in this case. Again, it's a really small case that you can carry on the airplane. You can put it in the back of a Humvee in the desert or whatever. You can destroy the case, keeps everything safe. It's perfect, I think, the perfect camera case. And really, we cram a whole lot of stuff in it. Again, important philosophy that we have is no matter what happens, as long as we have this case, we can shoot the job. So I hope that helped. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'd be glad to answer them. And thanks for watching.